Welcome. So, my name is Dhuti, and I'm originally from Rhode Island, but at the moment I reside most of the time in Assisi, Italy. And actually, I want to invite, it's very nice, thank you, for those of you on Zoom who have your pictures on. I remember one time a few months ago, Jaya actually requested that of the people on Zoom, and it made such a difference. It felt like we were, all connected. And the other one is for Kyle, who's doing the sound, to train the camera a little bit on the audience. And so, yeah, we get to see a little bit who's in the audience. That was David's suggestion too. Thank you. So we'll sing this song together. I'm not going to post the words, but we'll sing it a couple of times, and you've probably heard it. It's a children's song. I'll say the words so you can sing with me. God is our Father, our Mother too. God is our dearest treasure. God's ever near, the one friend who loves us without any measure. Of his dreams our love was made. Only from him is love repaid. Let us in gladness all live for him, serve him in every season, serve him with thought, with hand and limb, love him without any reason. God befriends us as we are, fools we that hold his love afar. It's not just a children's song. God is our Father, our Mother too. God is our dearest treasure. God's ever near, the one friend who loves us without any measure. God befriends us as we are, fools we that hold his love afar. Let us in gladness all live for him, serve him in every season, serve him with thought, with hand and limb, love him without any reason. God befriends us as we are, fools we that hold his love afar. God is our Father, our Mother too. God is our dearest treasure. God's ever near, the one friend who loves us without any measure. Of his dreams our love was made. Fools we that hold, only from him is love repaid. Let us in gladness all live for him, serve him in every season, serve him with thought, with hand and limb, love him without any reason. God befriends us as we are, fools we that hold his love afar. God befriends us as we are, fools we that hold his love afar. Now let's sit up for meditation, taking this chant deeply. We'll do two chants. This first one are the words by Rabindranath Tagore. They should be in the chant book. But it's nice to not have to read the words, and most of the chants repeat. So you can close your eyes and just go deep, even if you don't have the words in front of you, just repeat. my house with thine own hands, light the lamp of thy love. In my house with thine own hands, light the lamp of thy love. Thy transmuting lamp entrancing, thy transmuting lamp entrancing, wondrous are its rays. Change my darkness to thy light, Lord. Change my darkness to thy light, and my evil into good. Touch me but once, and I will change. Touch me but once, and I will change all my clay into thy gold. All the sense lamps that I did light, suited into glories, sitting at the door of my soul, sitting at the door of my soul. Light thy resurrecting lamp in my house with thine own hands, light the lamp of thy love. In my house with thine own hands, light the lamp of thy love. Thy transmuting lamp entrancing, thy transmuting lamp entrancing, wondrous are its rays. Change my darkness to thy light, Lord. Change my darkness to thy light, and my evil into good. Touch me but once, and I will change. Touch me but once, and I will change all my clay into thy gold. All the sense lamps that I did light, suited into glories, sitting at the door of my soul, sitting at the door of my soul. Light thy resurrecting lamp in my house with thine own hands, light the lamp thy love. In my house with thine own hands, light the lamp of thy love. Thy transmuting lamp entrancing, thy transmuting lamp entrancing, wondrous are its rays. Change my darkness to thy light, Lord. Change my darkness to thy light, and my evil into good. Touch me but once, and I will change. Touch me but once, and I will change all my clay into thy gold. All the sense lamps that I did light, suited into glories, sitting at the door of my soul, sitting at the door of my soul, sitting at the door of my soul, sitting at the door of my soul. Light thy resurrecting lamp, light thy resurrecting lamp. And we'll take this next chant into meditation. It's not a simple chant, so sing it with all your heart and devotion, and help it to pull you into a deep state of peace when we stop chanting. How shall I love thee, Lord my God, with every breath I breathe? Just as a fire may burn a whole forest, burn to the root my desires. And then it's, how shall I love thee? How shall I serve thee? How shall I find thee? I'm sorry, let me look up the words. It has all four of these qualities. but it's alphabetical. I was just singing it today in Italian, and so I can't remember. Love, seek, serve, worship. Love, seek, serve, worship. Shall I love thee, Lord my God, with every breath I breathe? How shall I love thee, Lord my God, with every breath I breathe? Just as a fire may burn a whole forest, burn to the root my desires. Just as a fire may burn a whole forest, burn to the root my desires. Seek, how shall I seek thee, Lord my God, with every breath I breathe? How shall I seek thee, Lord my God, with every breath I breathe? Just as a fire may burn a whole forest, burn to the root my desires. Just as a fire may burn a whole forest, burn to the root my desires. Serve, how shall I serve thee, Lord my God, with every breath I breathe? How shall I serve thee, Lord my God, with every breath I breathe? Just as a fire may burn a whole forest, burn to the root my desires. Just as a fire may burn a whole forest, burn to the root my desires. Worship, how shall I worship thee, Lord my God, with every breath I breathe? How shall I worship thee, Lord my God, with every breath I breathe? Just as a fire may burn a whole forest, burn to the root my desires. Just as a fire may burn a whole forest, burn to the root my desires. How shall I love thee, Lord my God, with every breath I breathe? How shall I love thee, Lord my God, with every breath I breathe? Just as a fire may burn a whole forest, burn to the root my desire. Just as a fire may burn a whole forest, burn to the root my desires. How shall I seek thee, Lord my God, with every breath I breathe? How shall I seek thee, Lord my God, with every breath I breathe? Just as a fire may burn a whole forest, burn to the root my desires. Just as a fire may burn a whole forest, burn to the root my desires. How shall I serve thee, Lord my God, with every breath I breathe? How shall I serve thee, Lord my God, with every breath I breathe? Just as a fire may burn a whole forest, burn to the root my desires. Just as a fire may burn a whole forest, burn to the root my desires. How shall I worship thee, Lord my God, with every breath I breathe? How shall I worship thee, Lord my God, with every breath I breathe? Just as a fire may burn a whole forest, burn to the root my desires. Just as a fire may burn a whole forest, burn to the root my desires. Quanto ti amerò, mio Signore, tutta la mia sitting up straight with your shoulders back and spine erect. Chin parallel to the floor. Let's take a couple of double breaths. Inhale through your nose, tensing everything, double breath. Tense, tense, tense. Exhale through your mouth, double breath. Relax for a moment. And again, inhale. Tense, tense. And as you breathe in, feel the waves of devotion and joy, tuning into the vibration of the songs. Feel them in your heart, in your body. Offer that energy up to the spiritual eye, point between the eyebrows, and dive deep into that golden orb. We'll meditate for about 5 minutes, and you can use the mantra Hong Sa, I am spirit, I am he, inhaling mentally, Hong, drawing your breath up to the spiritual eye. Om, 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 and exhale down, Sa, or whatever centering practice you want to use. And take these few minutes and dive deep.
remaining in state. Listen to this week's affirmation for sleep. Renunciation. Renunciation means turning one's back on lies, that we may give our full attention to the Lord. You might think of renunciation as an investment, which initially may seem a loss, but in time it becomes multiplied. And many times it's a bringing over. The least gift that we give to God will return to us. Renunciation. Renunciation means turning one's back on nonsense. Renunciation means turning one's back on non-essentials, that we may give our whole attention to the Lord. We might think of renunciation as an investment, which initially may seem a loss, but in time it is multiplied, and many times it is fluid in the world. The least gift that we give to God will return to us in divine blessings 1,000. Renunciation means nothing less than a gift to God. Renunciation is nothing. It isn't what you wear or the outward clothes you wear. When you renounce all freedom, you hold that renunciation as a precious secret between you and all your desires, all your ambitions, and forever alone. So repeat in a loud voice, imagining the attention. Move your light so it's not on your side, or put it right here. Say it's garbled. Let's affirm in a loud voice, commanding the attention of conscious mind. I spurn the tempting magic of this world. I spurn with its rainbow bubbles, with its rainbow bubbles, ever ready to us. Where I fly, high above the two mountains. I'm free, I'm free. Honorable on the sea. I spurn the tempting magic of this world. With its rainbow bubbles, ever ready to us. See where I fly, high above the tall mountains. I am free, I am free, I am free, I am free. Now I spurn the tempting magic of this world with its rainbow bubbles. Ever ready to see where I fly, high above the tall mountains. I am free, I am free, I am free. Now taking it into the subconscious, is I spurn the tempting magic of this world with its rainbow bubbles, ever ready to burst. See where I fly, high above the tall mountains. I am free, I am free. And bringing your awareness to the point between your headlands, with rising aspiration, searing information, this affirmation into the superconscious mind, in deep silence, affirm. I spur the tempting magic of this world with its rainbow bubbles, ever ready to burst. See where I fly high over the mountains. I am free, I am free. There. Lord, help me to see that in no outward experience will I ever find fulfillment. All that my heart has ever sought awaits me in thee.
I don't think your mic is open, so Anostra, let's check your mic. Thanks.
I just want to suggest that somebody who has a good mic do the reading because we can't hear a word online. The mic's not working. So I could do the
Grace
reading.
of the One Mind. Weekly commentaries on the Bible and the Bhagavad Gita by Swami Kriyananda. Week 29. Self-effort, too, is needed. Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda. These past weeks, we discussed the need for balancing self-effort with receptivity to divine grace. Both are important in the spiritual life. Passive dependence on grace hasn't the magnetism to attract grace. Boastful self-confidence, however, which closes itself off from the higher divine power, is shallow, brittle, and, given life's many uncertainties, susceptible to ultimate failure. There is a story in the Bible that illustrates the need to put forth personal effort so as to draw magnetically on divine power. The story occurs in the Gospel of St. Luke, chapter 8. But as he went, the crowds nearly suffocated him. Among them was a woman who had had a hemorrhage for 12 years and who had derived no benefit from anybody's treatment. She came up behind Jesus and touched the edge of his cloak. As a result, her hemorrhage stopped immediately. Who was it who touched me? Jesus asked. When everybody denied it, Peter remonstrated. Master, the crowds are all around, pressing you on every side. But Jesus said, somebody touched me. I felt power going out of me. When the woman realized that she had not escaped notice, she came forward, trembling, and fell at his feet, and admitted before everyone why she had touched him, adding that she had been instantaneously cured. Daughter, Jesus said, it is by your faith that you have been healed. Go in peace. Self-confidence and self-effort are necessary, as the ignition of a car is necessary to the motor. Of what use the ignition, however, if the motor itself will not work? Wise is he who recognizes the real power in the universe and guides his life by that supreme power. As it says in the Bhagavad Gita, the 9th chapter, to those who meditate on me as their very own, ever united to me by incessant worship, I make good their deficiencies and render permanent their gains. Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind.
Thank you, Anastra. And I neglected to introduce Ines, who's there with you in the church on my little square, because I have it like everybody's equal, so I can see everyone. I couldn't see Ines. She kind of blends in with the altar on Zoom. So, today's Whispers from Eternity reading, number 125. From peak to peak and from heart to heart I will fly, singing thy name. Bless me, my own true Father, that I may fly with thee from peak to peak, or lie on the grass and sing thy song to the birds. Bless me that I may wade through the streams of human feeling, to bring to all the song of thy glory. Bless me that I may whirl around starry rims, blazing thy name. With the nebulae I will spread thy holy name. Bless me that with the humming atoms I may attune my song to thine. So I have to start with the joke. I mean, I guess we've technically already started, but Swami advised us when people were first starting to go out and teach, when he was kind of passing the baton. And so he said it's nice to make people laugh, so you can have a joke. So this joke was a dream by my son's childhood friend. They were both born and raised at Ananda, both born at home. And Mukunda, or Mike, I have to credit him, he dreamt this. Mike Karen, he is a son of Ganesha, who still lives at the village, and Saraswati, who actually lives here in Italy. And Mike and Elisha are still very close friends, and even though they live in different parts of the country, they have a monthly video thing that they join. So one day, Mike says, "Hey, I had this dream last night. Tell me if you think it's funny." First of all, before I start the joke, I don't know how it is in Rhode Island or where anybody else is, but it's super hot here, and I've been like sweating like I don't want to say it, just sweating a lot all day. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon, so this is appropriate. So the joke goes like this. I've been wondering why my friends and I don't play freeze tag anymore. Everyone thinks it's because we're getting older, but I think it's because of climate change. Anyway, I told that to Jyotish and Devi. I want to share a little bit about 2 weeks ago now. I was going to share last week, but as some of you know, I wound up being in the very, very bottom of Italy, in the southernmost point, and did not have good reception. So Kelly kind of stepped in and gave a very inspiring talk, spur of the minute. And but I was going to share a little bit about Spiritual Renewal Week, because I had just come from the village. It was so inspiring, and every year, it's just as I think Jyotish said, it gets better every year. And you think, how can it get better? But it does. So in one of Jyotish's talks, he told 3 or 4 jokes. And then afterwards, I said, I have to tell you these 2 jokes I have, because I love telling jokes, and I usually don't remember them. But these 2 I've been telling constantly now for about a month. So I told it to Jyotish and Devi just burst out laughing like, she thought that was pretty funny, that joke. Okay, I'll save my other joke for another time. I want to touch on the affirmation first. I'm going to read it, the whole thing, because we couldn't hear it. Where is it now? Oh dear. Well, okay, I won't. But thoughts on affirmation. You know, there's that story in the autobiography of the saint who was told, you've given up everything for God. And people were, very kind of amazed and inspired by the fact that he could give up everything, his worldly life, his good job and riches and who knows, fame and fortune. But so people would say, you have given up everything. He responded, I've given up a few paltry rupees for a life of infinite love and bliss. It is the worldly man who has made the real sacrifice. So, and I also want to address the line in the Ray's reading. There's an expanded version of the Ray's reading, which actually Swami Kriyananda wrote first, and then he condensed the other. And it's called Rays of the Same Light. And it explains that whole energy of how Jesus, he had people pressing around him, everyone was touching him, but he could feel the energy when this woman, and it wasn't that she was greedily taking, it was just that her energy was drawing from him. And so it says, Swamiji writes, the woman drew from Jesus not only actively by her willpower, but also with devotional love. She opened her consciousness to him and attuned herself to his spiritual vibrations. She not only drew from him, but gave to him also on a soul level. Both openness and self-giving on a deep level are important in divine healing. And then he goes on to say, people who are only passively receptive or who alternatively try to snatch healing to themselves with the urgency of ego achieve little spiritual benefit, if any. Self-effort must be of the right kind. Giving of oneself from and of the heart is a necessary attitude for healing on every level. It is necessary above all for those whose deepest desire is to be healed of the disease of spiritual ignorance. And this finally is the most important kind of healing of all. So this topic of self-effort, you have probably heard the equation 25, 25, 50. 25% is the disciple, the person, the seeker, their effort. 25% is the effort of the guru, and 50% is the grace of God. And then there's that caveat that, of course, the 25% of that equation, of that, 100% of our effort is needed. So I'm going to just share a few stories kind of on the first two parts of that equation. The disciple, the seeker, the soul. Soul is 25% and the guru is 25%. So one of my dear friends here in Narya, who's one of the leaders, he tells the story of a woman who felt that she wasn't ready for Kriya initiation, and she had this self-identification of not being worth it. And she wasn't ready. She was not worth it. She was never going to be ready. She didn't have a very positive attitude about herself. And Narya just responded, nonsense. We're never ready, really. If we were ready, if we were already there, if we were already perfectly balanced and, we've found we've gotten rid of all of our egoic traits and all of our desires and all of that, and then we wouldn't be here. So, of course, we're not perfect, and that's why we have to really shift our attitude towards ourselves. And that's why when I started that prayer, that Master said, naughty or good, we are your children. Naughty or good, God loves us. Divine Mother loves us. Who's ever ready for anything? We're always very self-critical and like, well, no, I'm not very good at that, so I shouldn't do that. So there's a story of James Collier. He's one of the fellow monks with Swami Kriyananda at SRF with Yogananda. And he was in charge of the, I believe, Phoenix, Arizona Center. SRF, Self-Realization Fellowship Center. This story is in The New Path, written by Swami Kriyananda, and that's such a wonderful book if you haven't read it, because the first part is the story of kind of everyman, all of us wondering what's it all about, and our search for truth and meaning in life. And then the middle part is when Swami met Yogananda and the years with him and all the miraculous stories in that middle section. And then the last part is his starting Ananda. So James Collier was doing a long drive from Arizona back to Los Angeles, where Yogananda lived, and it was at night. And this is back in the 40s, so probably on Route 66. I don't know. Anyway, it was not a big highway, and there probably weren't very many all-night restaurants open. But he was tired and hungry, and he stopped. And there was nothing, of course, vegetarian on the menu. He had hamburger. And then he had another hamburger. And he's like, okay, well, Master won't know I had this hamburger, because Master encouraged everyone to be vegetarian and in the monastery there. And that's part of the teachings, too. He explains that. And so then he arrives back to the Mother Center, SRF in LA, and Master says, well done, great that you could make it here. One thing though, one little thing. Next time, when you're hungry on a long drive in the middle of nowhere, better to fast. But later, Master said about him, he will be liberated in this incarnation. I don't know how, but Divine Mother says so it must be so. That's what he said about him. So the point is, he wasn't perfect, and he found freedom. So we have to just give ourselves the benefit of the doubt and keep, because I think what happens is that 100% of our 25% effort, there are times, obviously, when we're like a little low energy and we're like, we're not always being the perfect yogi. We're not always doing our practices and behaving as Sri Yukteswar said, behaving in a high way, in a high manner. There are times we're not 100%. And I know for myself, I'm pretty hard on myself. And critical, and think I should be doing better than this. I've been on the path 45 years, really. How could I let that little thing get to me? I mean, it has gotten much, much better. Obviously, the longer, you can't help that, and that's what we have to hold on to and remember, that not to be discouraged with ourselves. Let's see. Now I will tell a story or two about the Guru's 25%. I'm actually going to sing a song for the offertory that describes that as well. But first of all, I'll tell the story of another disciple at Mount Washington that Swami talks about in the path, the new path. Jerry, I think his name is, and he was hitchhiking, which, people used to do, I used to do. And it was kind of common. But I think Master, I'm not sure if he discouraged it or what, but what happened is he was hitchhiking, and he got picked up by 3 guys in a car, and they took him on this dirt road, and they were pounding. They came to a house, and they were pounding on the door, and pounding, and nobody came. And so I somehow he got away, and I can't remember the details if they all of these 3 guys left, but Jerry, the disciple, felt that a crime was about to be committed, and he was a little nervous about it. And so when he got back to Mount Washington, which is where the Yogananda lived with the monks, Master said, Jerry, that was a close call. Do you know how hard I had to work to close the ears of those criminals that were inside the house? So Master's protection is, their Guru's protection is with us from criminals, Maya, delusion, our temptations. The job of the Guru is to lift us up every time we fall. And our part is to let him lift us up. And that's why we sang that chant at the beginning, touch me but once and I will change all my clay into thy gold, into gold. Isn't that beautiful? Rabindranath Tagore. And then we also have the purification ceremony, which is often done before Sunday service with the fire ceremony, and then also coming up to, a light bearer and saying the prayer, I seek purification by the grace of God. And the light bearer will say, the Master says, open your heart to me, and I will enter and take charge of your life. And that's the promise that the Guru has given us. So let's keep trying hard, keep remembering the Guru with every breath we breathe. The Guru gives a lot of his good karma to his disciples. At the end of his life, Master's body, he couldn't walk. He had taken on people's karma. And there's a story of Padre Pio here in Italy. Someone came up to him and said, please, can you take away my pain or my sins or something like that? And he said, I could, madam, but every inch is already occupied. But as soon as one opens up, I'll add you to it. It's a funny image. But I believe Swami Kriyananda did the same thing. I feel like he took on, he had so many, or maybe he was just working off his own karma, but he had so many health issues that he was victorious over. And actually, I'll just, this quote of Shivani said she was talking to Swami Kriyananda, and she said, but how does the Guru do this? You know, how does the Guru take on? Because Shivani's such a very, I don't know if you know who Shivani is, you can find her on I'm sure all over the internet, but she was one of the founding members of Ananda Village and has been living, and also one of the founding village people here for Ananda Sisi, and she travels all over Europe and India, and started the Raja Yoga School here. Great soul. If you have not had a chance to listen to Shivani talk, I encourage you to do that. So she said she was talking to Swami and said, but how does he do this? You know, she wants to know. And Swami says, it's God's responsibility. Let him figure it out. I like that answer. So to end with, the Bhagavad Gita reading, where it's no effort is ever lost, but there are two conditions. At the beginning of that reading, it's to those who meditate on me as my very own. So that's kind of the condition number one. To those who meditate on me as their very own. This is how we give our 100% to our 25% of the equation. All of our effort. Meditating on Divine Mother, Krishna, Gurus, as their very own, like as a best friend. You share everything with them. And that's your life. Thou art my life. Thou art my love. And number two, second part of that reading that we heard earlier, ever united to me by incessant worship. How shall I worship thee, Lord, my God? How shall I love thee? How shall I serve thee? How shall I seek thee? Adore him all the time, every morning, every evening, in all that we do, everything that we do. Make it a moment of adoration. Talk to him. You're at the grocery store. Have that conversation with God all the time. Try to feel God in everything. Not just, so here's an example. Shivani was talking about how she was trying to feel God during energization, like fully, completely feel God, not just in the muscles and the breathing and all of the physical aspects, but, you know, that level, take it to the next level. Try to feel God in every act that you do, especially in meditation. Especially in meditation, because then that's the time we are 100% devoted. We don't have lots of distractions. We are your children, naughty or good, perfect we are not, but worthy we are. We'll have our offertory prayer. Someone else will read it, yeah, okay.
Basically, and repeat after me. And I know that I know that we offer to be the fruit of believers. Land of God, and it serves as a channel of thy light. So, alms, peace, amen.
So this is a poem Yogananda's also found in Whispers from Eternity. God's Boatman, the ultimate promise. And as I'm singing this, I just want to ask if there's any way there in the church you can fix the mic, because it's really, we can't hear a word. And otherwise, maybe I could read the whole festival. It's not going to work for the way the mic is right now. I don't know what the problem is, but I'll go ahead and sing.
Dhuti, can
Yeah.
you hear me?
Yes.
We could take the other mic off and just use the computer, because I'm not, everything's on correctly, but it's not working for some reason, according
Yeah.
to you or others.
Well, yeah. So whatever you want, you could, if you want to do that while I'm doing the song.
Okay.
And okay, thank you. We don't mean to be pestering, but it seems to be a group problem here on Zoom. Okay, God's Boatman. I want to ply my boat many times, cross the gulf after death. I want to load my boat with those waiting thirsty ones who are left behind, and carry them by opal pools of iridescent joy to my Father. Oh, I will come again and again, crossing a million cracks of suffering, with bleeding feet, a trillion times, as long as one is left behind, as long as one of you seek my divine in me. I want thee, oh my God, that I may give thee to all. I want salvation, Lord, that I may give it to all, that I may show others how to free themselves forever and forever in thee. I am God's boatman. Come and ride with me to eternity.
festival of light. Let us lift up our hearts in a festival of light. The essence of this ceremony has been passed down from ancient times. For waves that we are in the bosom of the infinite sea, joyfully together let us celebrate our own greater reality. For now, by God's grace, our redemption is at hand. The promise has been given. Divine light returning anew to earth has given us power, as the Holy Bible proclaims, to become the sons of God. Into our hands